Yeah, you're good to go.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
How is everybody?
We're fine,
You're
man.
fine.
I'm glad you're all here. Barbara has invited me to come speak, and hopefully we all can get something out of this tonight. And feel free to chime in if there's something that I'm saying that doesn't make any sense or is confusing. Can you hear me okay out there? Am I too soft, too loud? What's going on?
Sound good.
Perfect.
You're
Just
fine for
about
me.
right.
Okay. Well, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Manny Solis, and I'm an assistive technology instructor. Been blind for about 10 years, and I've learned a lot in those years, and now I'm imparting that information where I can to my community, my blind community. So my background before that was software engineering, statistics, healthcare analysis, things like that for the government. And I did hardware and software, IT department things, blah, 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 the whole 9 yards. So I know a lot about computers and peripherals and software and how they work. So what I wanted to talk about tonight was VoiceOver and how it works with Safari, which is the Apple web browser. Is everybody on board still? We're good to go?
Here.
Okay.
Yep.
Good to go.
So I guess the first thing we should do is maybe define our terms. So everybody's heard of Safari. That's Apple's web browser. Comes with your phone, automatically is used unless you change it. And of course, VoiceOver is the screen reader that comes, with your Apple product, your iPhone, your iPad, and that is there to read the screen in front of you. Now, the one thing that a lot of people have a problem with sometimes is that they confuse VoiceOver with Siri. And those are very different things. They both talk to you, and they may even use the same voice, but they're very different. VoiceOver is strictly a screen reader, and Siri is what's called a virtual assistant. Sometimes when you're first starting out, those get confused and you don't know who's talking to you. Well, I want to put that out there. Okay, so I guess the first thing to do is, how do you open a website? And I've got three basic ways. There's more, but I guess I want to talk about three. So, someone can send you a link in an email to a website. You can locate it in your email. You can tap on it, double tap on it, and then it'll open up. You could open Safari, go into the address bar way on top, and type in the address, www.google.com, or whatever it is you're going to search for. And of course, the other thing is you can have Siri look for the web page itself. You could tell Siri something like this. You could say, open website, Tucson Society of the Blind. And then it will show you results for that. And usually the top result is your website. And you tap on that and it opens it up in Safari. Basically, those
Manny,
are the
let's see if you can do that.
I'm glad you asked that. Now, I don't know if anybody's got video on. It's just a big bald-headed guy in the picture, if you see me. But I'm going to turn my phone on now so you guys can hear what's going on. Let me know if it's too loud or too soft, too fast or too slow, okay?
6:56 p.m.
All right, so.
Calendar, Tuesday.
So, Barbara, I'm going to do the one where you ask Siri, right? Is that the one you want to hear?
That's the one I want to hear.
Okay. So the instructions for that are to ask Siri to open, and the key word here is open, which is the verb, website, and then the website name. Okay. So I'm going to do that now. So, hey Siri.
Tucson Society of the Blind.
Open website, Tucson Society of the Blind.
Okay. I found this on the web for open website Tucson Society of the Blind. Check it out.
So then you take your finger, right, and you can explore by touch. You can just drag it on the screen and find the entry on there. So I'm going to do that. So you're going to hear some gobbledygook and then the place that I want to go. So here we go.
Savi services for the Tucson Society of the Blind. Welcome. April 15th,
Oh, it did it. Wow.
That's the very top one that it found. Now that's a Siri result. If you can imagine Siri's displaying a list of possibles. This is the very top one. If I double tap that, which I'm going to do right now, it'll open up Safari. So let me do that.
Safari. Text field. Tucson Society of the Blind logo. Link. Image. Banner. Landmark.
So that is by far the easiest way to open up a site because you're using your voice and you're just tapping. The other ways are harder because you have to tap in the address or you have to do more gymnastics with gestures, which I'll get into in a while. But that's how you do that.
Now,
Any
Manny,
questions?
when you did that, do you have to do the WW or you just say what site you want to go to?
That's the beauty of that, Barbara. You don't have to specify all the weirdo stuff, the .com or org or www, HTTP. You just give it the name, Tucson Society of the Blind, and it'll find it. And it could be something else, whatever it is you're looking for. So is
How
there any
close
questions
do
on
you
that?
How close do you have to be to the name? Suppose you wanted just Tucson Blind.
Well, you know, it's like anything else with a search. The more general you are, the more results you're going to get. So the
Yes,
more
but if you don't
specific
know.
the more specific you are, yes, the more zeroed in your results are going to be. So it's really up to you. If you know the exact name, that's the best.
Open website, Tucson Society of the Blind.
Here's what I found.
I did that on my iPhone. It worked.
Hear it. I hear
I'm
it,
glad.
Nancy.
I'm glad.
I mean, my iPad.
Screen dimmed.
Now, when I teach my students, and Barbara's very well aware of this, I show them the hard way too, because you got to know all ways to get there. And if you know more than one or two ways, you can always get to what you're doing with or without vision. And that's kind of why there's a real easy way like this. There's a harder way, but if you know both, it's really good for you. It's really good for your, you know, to get going with this adapting to blindness. So,
And this is the easy way.
that's what I think is the easiest way. That's my opinion.
I agree with you.
Now, maybe even easier than that is if somebody sends you a web link, you can then just double tap on that web link and open it right up. That's another way.
Right.
Okay, so let me go to my next slide here. I'm sorry about the rough start. This is my first Zoom meeting. I usually do FaceTime, and so my strength's not in Zoom. So hang on a second here. So, okay. So how do you get VoiceOver to read a website? So how that's done, when you get onto your website, let's say Tucson Society of the Blind, and you want to see what's on the site, you want to read it, or you want to have it read to you. So the best gesture for that, especially if you're first visiting a site and you're kind of interrogating it, trying to figure out what it looks like, how it's structured, just do a 2-finger swipe up and just listen. And then it'll explain all of the areas to you. It might be even too much, but you'll get everything. And then once you find an area that you like, you can pause the speech, and then you can move back one item, forward one item. You can continue reading down the list. That's kind of a good way to get used to the gestures and also get information on the site. Now, on the notes that I'm going to publish after this meeting, I have all of the top gestures that you should really memorize to do this. There's about 5 or 6 of them. And those gestures are real important for this kind of navigation. And they can also be used not only on websites, but even in email messages, just about anything. All right. Do you want me to go over some of the gestures, or what do you guys think?
I don't need them.
Okay, because it might just be a lot of talking, and since you're not using them, it may not, I don't know. So let me go to
Well,
the,
I don't know.
Hey, Manny,
yeah,
a couple gestures would be helpful for me. You don't have to do all of them, but
okay, yeah. Was that you, Mike? I thought I saw your video, by the way.
it is me. Hi, Manny. I
Wow, okay,
tried
so
to say hi earlier, but I was muted and oh gosh.
this
But
is
hi.
working then. Okay, great. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
let me get back to this. So, okay, I'm going to go through about maybe five gestures, just to get you familiar with it.
All right.
So doing a two-finger swipe up, like I said, will read the entire site, soup to nuts, top to bottom, left to right, okay? A two-finger touch will pause it. So that would be two fingers, you just touch the screen and it'll pause speech. And it'll stop right where you pause it. Let's say if it's halfway down the site, it'll stop there and it knows where it stopped and you paused it there. So you can continue from there if you need to.
Okay.
A one finger swipe left or right moves either to the previous item or the next item in the site. You know, that could be a piece of text, it could be a link, it could be a button, it could be anything, depending on how the site's structured. And then
Say that again?
No signal. Press input on your remote control, then select the device you want to view. Make sure the device is turned on.
so a two finger swipe down is like the
No,
first one I talked about. Two finger
Manny,
swipe up.
the third one, I didn't get the ending. One finger swipe left or right. What does it do?
That's like a tab or a back tab on a computer. It goes
Tab
to
or
the
backward
next
tab.
thing or the previous thing. And that could be a piece of text. It could be it could be a button. It could be a list. It could be anything. Whatever is in the next thing to tab to on the site. That's what a left and right swipe does with one finger. And then two finger swipe down is kind of like the very first one. When I said two finger swipe up to read everything, two finger swipe down will read from where you're at. Let's say you're halfway down the site and you don't want to read the whole thing again, but you want to continue from where you left off. You do a two finger swipe down to read to the end. And then the last one I have on the notes here is one finger double tap. And that activates whatever it is you want to open. Let's say if it's a link or a button, and if you double tap on that button, that opens it up, that activates it. And there are many more. This is just the bare minimum you need to survive. And these should be committed to memory.
Okay.
So
One finger double tap does what?
it activates. So if you're on a go button or a save or cancel button, and you do a one finger double tap on it, you're going to activate that button. Like doing a single tap in the before voiceover, you know, like if you weren't visually impaired and you just touch it. So it activates. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Because I
Then
finally
it's
figured out
Tom.
how to get that little control thing where you can, but I can see it. So I'm really glad because I'll learn how to. I didn't know how to do these gestures. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. But Nancy, you know, when you have voiceover off versus voiceover on, the gestures change radically. They're not anywhere close to the same. So that's why when it's on, it's hard for people to use it if they're not used to it. Sorry, Tom, go ahead. I didn't catch what you said.
Yeah, Tom has a question, Manny.
Yeah.
Yeah, Manning, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But those tapping like you was talking about, tap one on the different icons, is that the same as using the keyboard on a computer that you taught me the other day?
Yes, okay. To make an analogy or akin to a computer, double tapping on a button is like clicking it with a mouse or hitting enter on it. That's the same exact thing that it does.
Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. Any more questions on the gestures that I just went over? Okay. Well, continuing on. So how do you navigate a website with VoiceOver? So I was going over gestures. That's how you do it. But there's a mental part to this too that's very important. Whenever you get to a website for the first time, you got to do what a sighted person does. And a sighted person will look at a website really quick and sort of interrogate the site and say, whoa, these are the sections. I can see them. You know, this is that. The buttons are over here. Down at the bottom, it's this. And you do that by doing that 2-finger swipe up with your ears. And you interrogate the site that way and learn and store in your mind kind of where the things are that you're interested in. So the next time you get to that site, you won't have to read the whole thing. You can kind of drag your finger down to the middle where the good stuff is, if that's where it's at, and then just navigate around there. In a future class, there's even an easier way to navigate, but I won't go into that here because it's kind of complex gestures that are just beyond where we're at today. But there is a way to navigate by sections, and I'll just leave it at that. And that's a lot quicker than just going item by item. So let me go to the next thing. Let's see here. I had to print my notes up earlier here. Let me see. Okay. Okay, so it says, how do you know when you can open something on a website? Like you're on a website and you're there perusing the site, and you want to know what stuff can I click on and what stuff is just informational. So the good thing about VoiceOver is it'll tell you the type of object on the website or item that you're on. So if you're on just a bunch of text, it'll tell you, it'll say heading, or it'll say something along those lines. If you're on a link, it'll say whatever the name is of the link, like search for this link. It'll say at the very end. So if you hear link or button or something of that nature, those are things you can click on. Those are functional elements that are active. The others are informational. And VoiceOver always keeps you informed on which is which. And the ones you can tap on, click on, however you want to call it, are the ones that are functional, like buttons and links. And those are spread throughout the site. There's no rhyme or reason where they put these. It's up to the web developer. So any questions on that piece, or are we okay on that one? Okay. All right, so the next thing here is, so we already did the navigation for TSB. That was one of my examples. I just kind of jump started into that before. You know how we told Siri? And was everybody able to do that real quick when they tried it? Did it work okay?
Yeah, it worked for Nancy. Yeah.
Okay, great. So that was my first practice lesson. So we're going to skip to the second one. Okay. Now this one's a little harder. This is going to be going to YouTube, but you're gonna do it not with Siri. You're going to do it by opening Safari, going to the address bar, and then putting in the information. It's a little bit harder, but it's another way to bring up a site. So the long story short, and I've got the steps detailed in these notes, is you have to open Safari, and then you navigate with your finger, you explore by touch to the address bar, and then you double tap on the address bar, and then you go down to the keyboard and you can type in youtube.com. Via, these are very, each of these pieces take time to develop. It won't happen the first time. And then of course you hit go, YouTube comes up, and then you can drag your finger down the screen if you want to see a video of some kind. So I can demonstrate this if you'd like, if you want to hear.
But also, Manny, tell them how they can dictate it. They don't have to type it.
Right, so there's a way to dictate. You can dictate one letter at a time, because what happens with dictation, does everybody know what dictation is before I continue?
Was played between last Thursday and last Sunday. Kevin No won with a score of 21 under par.
So dictation is a way to specify information into a text field using your voice. When you're putting website information in, usually the dictation button isn't there because dictation uses the dictionary and it puts words in. But you could, in some instances, if it's available, actually say each letter of the site. So for YouTube, it would be youtube.com. And sometimes that'll work. It depends on your settings. There's a lot of little craziness here where that could change up how it works. So if you'd like, I can try to show you that on my phone if you want to hear me playing with Siri and VoiceOver, see what it sounds like. Would you
Sure.
want me to try that now?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Okay. If I'm going too fast, let me know. I don't know. I don't have a sense for how fast I'm going or how slow I'm going. So just don't want
Here's
to.
what I found.
7:13 p.m.
Okay. So first thing I'm going to do.
Address. Cap.
Right.
Edit mode.
Wait. I'm gonna find. Well, the way I show my students is I just tell them to let Siri open something up instead of looking for the icon. Because you can put your finger on it all day and look for it, or you can just tell Siri to open it up. So I'm going to do that first. Hey Siri, open Safari.
Safari. Address. tucsonsocietyofftheblind.org. Secure and validated connect.
So what it does, it opens Safari and it automatically brings up the last page we were on, and that's TucsonSocietyOfTheBlind.org. So we're going to go to YouTube. So all you have to do, it puts you right in the address bar. So you just double tap the screen anywhere. And if you're not on the address bar, you can find it by dragging your finger up towards the top. And when it says, well, I'll just do it. Let me just do that. So go.
Bob by Tucson Society of the address. tucsonsocietyofftheblind.org. Secure and validated connect.
So it says address, TucsonSocietyOfTheBlind.org. That's, when it says address, you're in the right place. So I'm going to double tap.
Address.
And then what'll happen is I'll get a keyboard at the very bottom. And then what you do is you drag your finger over the letters, or you can dictate depending on what you want to do. Let me try dictation. We'll see if this works because we'll see what happens. So let me see here. So I'm going to press the mic button on the very bottom.
Dictate button.
youtube.com. So it interrupted me. Hang on.
Thinking. Inserted Y go started text de.co. A T goes Y.
All right, let's try that again. It started talking before I was ready. Hang on a second. So let me go. I'm going to hit dictate again, the dictate button on the thing.
Dictate button.
youtube.com.
Inserted youtube.com.
So this is why dictation doesn't work very well, because it tries to take the single letters that I'm saying, and it tries to make words out of them. So unfortunately, website addresses aren't good with dictation because they're not English words. So you have to type them in via the keyboard. So let me show you how to do that.
Love this. I wish that there was a basketball week every weekend and then I was in my
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my finger and I'm going to find each letter on the keyboard and type them in that way. So you'll hear like letters going, and then I'm going to put them in one at a time. So
E, D, F, T, Y, alternate, U, I, O, I, U, Y, T, U, H, B, T, E, period, A, B, V, C, J, O, N, delete, M, go, to, and connected device, enter the code displayed on your device. 20 character, connected device, enter connected device.
I don't know what Google's doing to me here, but I did put youtube.com, and now I'm getting some Google thing, which is, I don't know what that's all about, but that's how you do it. And I don't know why Google's throwing this whatever this is at me.
Manny,
So-
can you tell them where the delete button is and where the go button is?
oh, I'm sorry. Yes. So when you bring up
Dictate, yeah,
the,
all those buttons, yeah.
yes, I'm sorry. Let me go back into the address bar again. I'm going to find it using my finger dragging on the screen.
Next, enter connected device, address, accounts dot, next, got
Yeah,
incorrect code,
Hang on a second. Go back.
toolbar, connected device, heading level 1,
Okay. So I'm going to go back up.
Tucson address, Tucson Soci type, address,
Now at the bottom, you're going to have a keyboard displayed, and it's basically a QWERTY keyboard, QWERTY, and so on and so forth. At the very bottom, depending on what size phone you have, there's going to be a dictate button. It's going to sound like this.
dictate, button. Double tap to start dictation. Double tap with 2 fingers when finished.
So you heard that. Now the delete button, like if you make a mistake in typing letters,
Delete, selection deleted.
it's like a backspace.
HTTPS.
It's like a backspace button. You can do one at a time, or if you do a double tap and hold, it'll delete the entire whatever you got in the box. And of course, the button below that, once you type it in, will come alive. So let me just type it in.
YOUTUBE period UCO.
And then there's the M.
Go.
And then I hit go, which is on the keyboard right below the delete. It's on the lower right side, right below the delete.
Go. YouTube. Link.
And then
Banner.
YouTube comes up.
Landmark.
And then if I explore down the screen, let's
Page
say.
2 of 4. Clueless white guy orders in perfect Chinese.
So I don't know what this is all
Patrons and
about. This is whatever's on YouTube's front page. But that's how you do that. And that's a little bit harder than telling Siri to go to the site. I imagine just telling Siri to go to YouTube would be much faster. But it's another way. Okay.
Manny, where's the period on the keyboard?
The period on the keyboard, that's a very good question. Let me go
Address.
down there.
YouTube. Address.
So if you can imagine the lower right of the keyboard, the bottom button is the go button. Right next to it on the left is a period. And then right above the go button at the very bottom there is the delete button. Those are the 3 keys you'll use the most. And of course, after the period to the left of the go is the space bar. So that's that too. Again, this takes a little while to get used to, and it's probably really hard to visualize this without seeing my phone and seeing me do this. But
Question, Manny.
Yeah.
When you are entering in that YouTube, do you have to hit each letter twice as you do for some other things?
That depends on a setting, a typing setting. My typing setting doesn't require that. I just have to find the letter and then lift my finger, and then it sticks it in there. But if you have the default setting, you would have to double tap. You'd have to find the letter and then double tap it, which is the default setting for voice.
So it can be taken off, but it is double tap to start.
It's
Got it.
double tap to start, yes. It's by default, yeah. It just depends on how you like to do things. So some people like to swipe their finger around the keyboard until they find the letter and then lift it. Some people like to find the letter and then double tap. It's just a personal preference kind of thing. And then the third, if there's no questions on that, I don't know, does anybody have any questions on the harder one, a harder way to open a site or? Okay, so the third way to do it would be, like I mentioned before. So somebody sends you an email link. Well, just like this invitation, the one that John McCain sent to us, there's an HTTPS link on there, I saw it. If you were to double tap on that link, it would open up your web browser. And that's the web browser way to get into a meeting. Same thing with any other link. And the thing about those links in a web, in an email message, you want to make sure those are coming from a trusted source or make sure it's somebody you know and trust, because some people can send you links to bad places, and you don't want to do that. That's the number one way to get your computer infected or get some crazy stuff going on in your system or your phone. So make sure it's a trusted source. Make sure you asked for it, you solicited it. It's not something that's just coming to you for no reason. And you'll stay safe. But that's the other way to open up websites. So are we doing okay? We have any questions thus far on that, or can we continue
Let's
on?
keep going.
Okay. All right, so let's see what's next here. Okay. So we talked about emails. Yeah, we did that. Okay. Okay. So one thing about Safari being a web browser, it's full featured. And one of those features that are really handy is its ability to bookmark. And a bookmark, for lack of a better term, is exactly what it is. You can take a website and you can create a bookmark, and you'll never have to type in that address again or look for it again, because you'll have it in your list of bookmarks. Now, your favorites, those are just bookmarks, but they're classified as favorites. Your history, those are bookmarks too, but it's just the history of the websites that you visited, and it's automatically added as you visit sites. And of course, the reading list, which maybe hardly any of you know, those are also bookmarks that you can create, and they're classified under reading lists. And I'll explain reading lists later, but don't worry. So that's what bookmarks are. And let me see here. The way to get to your bookmarks is in Safari, you have a toolbar menu at the very bottom. And well, you know what? Before we say how to get there, let's talk about how you create bookmarks. How about that? So if you want to make Tucson Society of the Blind.org a favorite, you say, God, I don't want to type that in again or look for it again. I just want to go to my bookmark and just open it that way. There's a process in doing that. So the very first time you go to it, open the page up, and then you go down to your share button. And it's like the third button over on the bottom toolbar. There's like 5 or 6 buttons on there. So one's called share. So you hit share, and in that list, you're going to get a list. You go to the thing called add to favorites. And when you do that, you get a dialog. It'll fill in the name automatically. And if you like the name, then just hit save. And now it's a bookmark. And when you want to go to that bookmark later on, instead of typing address in or having looked for Siri and whatnot, all you got to do is go to show bookmarks. Go to your favorites, and it'll be in the list. And you just tap on or double tap on that favorite, and it'll open up. So that's really handy if you want to store some of your favorite sites. Any questions on creating bookmarks? Or
What if you have 10 favorites? Now
you
what
can
do
have
you
it.
do?
Yeah, you can have as many as you want. The list can be.
I
as
know
big.
that, but how do you address it to get to the one you want?
So, oh yeah, good question. So if you do what I just said, you go to show favorites button on the toolbar, the way at the bottom. It's a little black toolbar that sits on the bottom of Safari. You show favorites, and there's a favorites menu. You make sure you're on that. And then under that, it's going to be a bunch of your favorites. And when you get on one of them, you use the left to right swipe, and that goes to the next item on the screen. And once you get to the list of favorites, then you just go down that list one at a time by doing a left to right swipe. And you'll hear it. It'll explain what each website is. And then
It reads each one.
I'm sorry?
It reads each one to you.
Yes, that's what VoiceOver does. That's what VoiceOver does for you. It reads the screen. So as you advance through the list, it reads each one.
Does it number them or do them alphabetically?
You know, I don't remember how it does it. I thought it puts it in the order that you created them.
Yeah, that's how the other ones used to do it.
Yeah, I think so.
That's how it does it, Manny.
What's that?
That's how it does it. It does it in the order that you save them.
Yeah, I wasn't 100% sure because I'm thinking about 3 different kind of browsers that do it, and I wasn't sure if that was the way it was listed. But yeah, Barbara's right.
Most recent first.
Most recent last. So
Okay.
your oldest one is on top and your newest one is on the bottom.
Okay.
And I don't know if there's a sort option. I've never explored that. That's a good question, but I don't know how it would sort it, to be honest with you. But that's and it's the opposite of your history. Your bookmarks for history, which are created automatically by Safari, those are
Mhm.
sorted by date visited descending. Those are actually the newest one on top and the oldest one on bottom. So it's kind of funny how that works. All right, so
So you're gonna do one?
yeah, let's create one. So I go to my favorite site in the whole world, which is Tucson Society of the Blind. Let me see here.
7:28 p.m.
So let's go to
Address.
Tucson.
Text field is editing. HT.
So let me get out of here.
Cancel. Cancel. YouTube. Link. Banner.
All right,
Landmark.
so YouTube was the last site I was on, but guess what? I know that in my history, I have a site before that, and guess which site that is? So I'm going to go back.
Toolbar. Back. YouTube. Link. Format options. Button. Reload. Tucson Society of the Blind logo.
So
Link.
if I want to
Image.
add that one, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use my finger, drag it on the screen down towards the bottom, and down there's a navigation toolbar, and I'm going to go to share. So I'm going to drag it down the screen, and you'll hear some stuff. Just hang on.
New Bob biography. Contact. We welcome all with visual and serving. Welcome to the Tucson toolbar. Forward. Button.
So there's a forward button. Now I'm going to go left to right swipe.
Share. Button.
That's the button you want. Share. I'm going to share.
Welcome. Starts the line.
Now I'm in a list. I'm going to pick who I'm going to share it with. And I'm going to go left to right swipe until I get to add to favorites. So I'm going to go down a little bit.
Manuel's airdrop. Copy. Add to reading list. Add bookmark. Add to favorites.
That's the one I'm going to choose. So I double tap that. And it's going to suggest a name.
Text field is editing. Welcome, Tucson Society of the Blind.
That sounds good to me. And then, of course, you have to save the bookmark so it knows you want to keep it, or you can bail out if you don't really want it. So I'm going to go find that button, upper right, and you can use your finger and find it. You just drag it medium slow over the screen.
A text field is editing. Save.
Right
button.
there, save. So I can do that.
Address.
Now, if I want to go see my latest favorite, down at the toolbar again where I was on share, let me go back down.
We welcome serving. Welcome to the toolbar. Forward button.
I'm going to go to share.
Share.
But
button.
I want to bring it up so I know I've already shared it, or I've already created the bookmark. I'm going to go open it now.
Show bookmarks.
I want to go to
button.
show bookmarks.
Show book. Double
And
tap
then
to dismiss pop-up window. Button.
I'll go down here.
Selected. Bookmarks.
So there's
Button.
bookmarks.
One of reading list.
Reading
button.
list.
History. Button. Search favorites. Search field. Dictate.
Now,
button.
if you have a ton of favorites,
Double tap to start dictate.
if you have a ton of favorites, you can use that search option. You can actually say, look for this or look for that. But I only have about, like Nancy was saying, around 10 maybe. I don't have that many favorites. So I'm just going to go down the list so you can hear what it sounds like. So left to right swipe.
Home. YouTube.
There's a YouTube one.
Google. Amazon.com. Appendix B. Arizona Illustrated Episode 600. Steve Perry. Welcome. Tucson Society of the Blind.
And there it is. So if
Actions available.
if I
Delete.
double tap on that one, it'll open it up.
Performed action. Search favorites. Search field. Bookmarks.
So there it is.
Amazon.com. On
So there we go. So that's
Arizona
basically it. Sorry.
Illustrated Episode 6.
Zoned out there for a second. So that's how you create. Now, if you want to delete a bookmark, if you ever have a thing to do there, we can, let me just go.
Done. Button.
So you go to the same place to delete a bookmark. The only difference being that you have a new option when you get on to Tucson Society of the Blind. Let's delete Tucson Society of the Blind just for fun. I'm going to go down to the toolbar.
Forward. Button.
Share button.
Button. Show bookmarks.
Show bookmarks. I'm going to get down to Tucson Society of the Blind.
Appendix B. Arizona. Steve Perry. Toolbar. Edit. Steve Perry. Live in Toronto, Arizona. Appendix B. Amazon.com.
Oh, you know
Online.
what? I forgot to save it last time. So let's delete this Steve Perry one.
Steve Perry.
What I forgot to do last time, and the reason I blacked out there for a second is I forgot to save it. I got lost. So I'm going to delete the Steve Perry one at the bottom. All you do is you use a single finger swipe up, and a menu comes up, and you can cycle through the menu items. And here's what they sound like. So it's one finger swipe up or swipe down.
Delete.
There's delete.
Activate.
Activate.
Default. Delete.
So you can go to it and activate it, or you can delete it.
Activate. Delete.
So I'm going to delete.
Performed action. Search favorites. Search.
And it immediately deletes it. All right.
Was
So any
activate
questions
to
on
call
that?
it up?
What's that?
Was activate to call it up?
Activate goes to it, delete removes it.
Okay.
And it's not storing the whole website. It's just a pointer to it. It's just the web address it's storing,
Mm-hmm.
just so you know. Okay, so another shade of bookmarks, because these are all bookmarks, whether they're favorites or history, is called history.
History. Button.
At the very top of the screen, you have three classes of bookmarks. One is called favorites.
Selected. Bookmarks. Button. 1 of 3. Search
And
favorites.
then the next one,
Reading list.
reading
Button.
list.
2 of 3. History.
History.
Button. 3 of 3.
And history has all of the history since the last time you cleared the history buffer or whatever of all the sites you visited. So you can go in there.
History. Button. Selected. History.
So if I
3
go,
of 3.
if I do a left to right swipe, I can start going through my history. So let's do that. I'm going to go left to right.
Search history.
Can search it.
Dictate. This evening. Heading.
So this evening, this is my history.
Welcome. Tucson Society of the Blind.
Very top.
Tucson Society of the Blind.org. Home. YouTube.
We were on that one before that.
YouTube.com. Swipe up. Sign in. Google accounts. Account.
So anyway, that more of the same all the way down. And if you find a site that you want to go back to, you can then find it in this history of sites that you were at, and then double tap on it. So if I want to go to YouTube, let's say, I'll go find it again. I'll do a right to left swipe to go back up the list.
Home. YouTube.
I just double tap.
YouTube.com. Home. YouTube. Link. Banner. Landmark.
So there I am.
Address. YouTube.com.
And it opens it up right away. So the last, and I hope your eyes aren't glazing over yet. The other bookmark thing is a reading list. Has anybody out there ever used that?
Annie?
Yeah.
May I ask a question about
Oh
the
yeah, I'm sorry.
history?
Go ahead. Yes.
Does that stay there forever, or do you have to do something with it?
You have the option of cleaning it whenever you like. You can clean it.
How do you
and
do
set-
that?
So I haven't done that very much from here. Let me just check. Okay, I think you can do it right from the history thing. So that's a good question. Let me try it. So just like when you go to call it up, you got to get back into it. So you got to go down to show bookmarks.
Jackie trying to tool back button.
So your toolbar has back,
Double forward.
forward,
Dimmed. Share.
share,
Button. Show bookmarks.
show bookmarks.
Button.
Okay, we're going to go in there, show bookmarks.
Double tap to dismiss selected. History. Button.
So
3
there's
of 3.
history. Now I thought there was a way. Let me just see here.
Done. Button.
Let's see.
This evening. Heading. Home. YouTube. YouTube.com. Toolbar. Clear. Button.
So I think there's a clear button at the very bottom right that I just found. And I used my eyes on that one just for the interest of speed. I looked at the phone and I saw clear at the bottom.
Clear button.
I imagine if I hit that, it's going to clear the list, but let's see.
Clear.
Let's see what it says here.
Clear button. Google. Google.com. Toolbar. Clear. Clear. Google. Google.com. Toolbar. Clear.
So that didn't work. So I don't know. But the way to clear them for sure, you go through your settings. Now this is about 3 steps. Settings, and then go all the way down to Safari. And then inside the Safari settings, there's a thing called Clear History and Website Data. And I can demonstrate that if you'd like. Would you like me to do that?
No, say it again. You go to settings and then Safari.
You go settings,
clear.
and, yeah, settings, and then down to Safari, and then you double tap on Safari. And then within the Safari list, you scroll down, and there's going to be an entry called Clear History and Website Data. You double tap on that, it'll ask you to confirm, and then it'll blow away all of the sites that you just visited from in the history.
Question.
I must have a lot because I've never cleared out my history.
And it's not a bad thing because your history, again, is just like your favorites. It's just a list of website addresses. That's all it is. Single line kind of things. You can have a zillion of those and not even worry about it. So,
But it stays in there forever till it's cleared.
I don't know of a limit. So you could have hundreds, maybe thousands of websites that you've visited in there.
Snoopers like.
Question.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
If you do clear the history, it said
I didn't catch that.
He disappeared.
He just left the meeting.
Screen dimmed.
If you didn't leave the meeting, Larry, check your mute function. Maybe you tapped on mute or something on your phone and we can't hear you.
He just left the meeting.
Oh, okay.
All right. Did you want to do Google real quick?
What are you thinking for Google, Barbara? What do you want to try here?
Wait a second. I got an ear cocked. I can't respond, but is there a problem that I need to?
Yeah, Larry just got knocked off.
He's going to have to hit the link again. Oh, is he unless he's in the waiting room? I'll look for him in the waiting room. But if he got knocked off somehow, he's going to have to come back in. I'll look for him. But if I don't see him, I can't do nothing.
Well, I was thinking Google is such a common one. You think of something that somebody wants and you could show them how to use the Google.
Okay. Do we want to go over reading lists? That was my last thing. Do we care about reading lists at all? Or are we okay with that? Well, let me just go over it real quick. It's real simple stuff. So the last classification of bookmarks that are on your phone are called reading lists. And what that does is if you add something to your reading list, it not only stores the web address, it also stores the entire website or web page on your phone. And the reason it does that is saves it for later so you can read and browse through it. So let's say you don't have an internet connection or something happens, you can still read what's on the page at your convenience at a later time. That's what a reading list is. That's really the long and short of it. It's really no more complex than that. So, and again, that's access to the Show Bookmarks menu, and it's one of the classifications of bookmarks. So, okay, why don't we try, let's go to Google, or we could do YouTube, either one, and we could look for, what about recipes? Do we like recipes? Would that be something we want to do? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I love recipes.
Okay. So, Barbara, you want me to do it on Google or YouTube? What's your preference?
Google.
Google, okay.
7:41 p.m. Try again. Button. Night sky.
All right.
Safari. Double tap to dismiss pop-up window.
All right.
Button.
So let me get out of these bookmarks that we were talking about.
Done. Button. Address. YouTube.com.
So I'm going to
Secure
go.
and validated connection.
I'm going to go to the address bar.
Address. YouTube.com. Address. Address.
And I'm going to type in Google. So give me a second here.
G O O G L E period C O M go go web page loaded.
Now, Google.com is a search engine, so it doesn't show you anything but a search bar. So all you do on the iPhone is you do a left to right swipe till you get down to the bar, or you can drag your finger and find it. I kind of like dragging my finger around because it's easier. So I'm going to do that. So let me just find it.
What sports search and search.
So there's a search
Combo
right
box,
there.
collapse search and search.
I double tap on
Combo
that.
box search and search.
Now here on a search bar, which is different than a web address bar, you can actually dictate things. So recipes are kind of general. Is there any kind of recipes we want to look for, like Italian or anything crazy like that?
Let's do chocolate cake.
Chocolate cake recipes. That was what I was just thinking, Barbara. So we're going to go down to dictate, which is down on your keyboard, which is now displayed because I opened.
Yeah, but you can double tap now.
That's right, and that's what Barbara taught me, by the way. So once you open up your text tool for editing, you can do a 2-finger double tap, which is another gesture that I haven't mentioned to you yet. And then you can then dictate and do another 2-finger double tap to end dictation. So let's do that. I'm going to dictate chocolate cake recipe or something. Let's try that.
Search, 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 and
chocolate cake recipe.
Inserted chocolate cake recipe.
So it said inserted chocolate cake recipe. That's what I said to it. Now, right below where I just did that, I can look at all of the suggestions for that search. I go left to right swipe.
Clear search. Reload. Main menu. All. Chocolate cake recipe. List start.
Okay.
Chocolate cake recipe from scratch.
Let's do one from scratch.
Main menu. Banner. Landmark. Menu pop-up.
All right. So once it's up, you can drag your finger to the content you want to hear, and we can just drag the finger like this.
Search. Milk. Button. Image result for chocolate cake ingredients. Heading level 3.
Ah, ingredients. That might be the thing I want to look at. So if I do, I can do a 2-finger swipe down, but I'm going to go one at a time so you guys can hear each piece. So I'm going to do that.
1. 2 cups granulated sugar. 2. 1/3/4 cups all-purpose flour.
3/4 a cup of flour. 3/4.
3. 3/4 cup unsweetened cocoa powder. 4. 1/2 teaspoon. 1/5. 50%.
So you get the idea. And what it does, it gives you the ingredients, and then it'll probably give me the way to mix them, and then of course bake them together into a cake. And that works for anything you look for. You know, if you're looking for animals or cakes or whatever, you can find any information you want about them, or whatever it is you're looking for. It could be anything. I know that hearing how to do it is tougher than doing it, but I guarantee you, if you practice it and you use the gestures that I have in my notes, it'll be a lot easier. And then you can go crazy later with even more esoteric gestures that even simplify it more, you know, but they're harder to do.
So to get out of that, you would do your scrub gesture, which we haven't talked about.
We haven't talked about the scrub gesture or the rotor or anything, but yes, Barbara's right.
Rotor.
I'm sorry?
The rotor's scary.
Yeah, the rotor gesture and the scrub gestures, I consider those a little more advanced because they take a little more physical kind of thing to do. And sometimes the phone is not very forgiving. If you don't do them kind of exactly right, it'll just, you know, not do anything and you'll get frustrated. But once you learn those gestures and do them, they can be really handy. Like Barbara said, the scrub gesture, that is the back one. So the scrub is like taking 2 fingers and doing like an L on your screen from the top left, go down and then to the right. And that's like and they call that a scrub. So I'm going to try it here, see if it works. So I might mess it up. So I'm on this recipe and I want to go back to search. So I'm going to scrub back.
2 fingers, you said?
I'm sorry?
With 2 fingers?
2 fingers, swipe down and then to the left. And it's got to be one fluid motion. So I'm going to try it here. Yep, there it goes.
Previous page.
And it'll make a little noise when you do it successfully. You'll know it. It gives you like a haptic feedback, like a little thump that you feel, and then it makes a little noise that you went back. So it gives you a lot of information when you do these things. So and then the rotor thing, I didn't want to go into that too much, but if you learn the other gestures, we can graduate to the rotor, and then you can find the headings on a page, website or whatever. You can find just links or buttons, and that is a fast way to navigate sites instead of just each item at a time or reading the whole thing, which is what we're talking about tonight. So that's basically what I had to say. I don't know if it's too early to open up for questions. Barbara, I yield to you on whatever you want to do. So what do you think?
No, I think that's a lot of information. Let's open it up for questions.
Yeah, any questions okay? And I'll do my best to answer them. So fire away when ready.
Manny,
Okay, who's first? Who's on first?
go ahead.
Tom,
Hi,
Annie,
Tom.
I'll wait.
Let's
you
get Tom
mentioned
going.
earlier that to go down your list of favorites, you go from the top from the oldest to the newest. Can you go to the bottom of the list and go from the newest back up to the top?
You can, and that's another gesture that I haven't talked about tonight. Kind of like what Barbara was alluding to before with the rotor and the scrub. There's another one called a 3-finger swipe. And I don't know why Apple makes you do this with 3 fingers. It's like a gymnastics, but you put 3 fingers on the page, on the screen, and you swipe the screen, and it'll swipe in the direction or scroll in the direction that you swipe. But again, these have to be practiced. But what you'll do is you'll swipe up until you get to the bottom, and then you can just go up the list the other way as well.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you got it.
Manny,
Yes, ma'am.
I learned the scrub gesture as a Z. The L has replaced it now.
Well, I've always used the L. I've heard of the Z, but I don't remember what the Z does. So I'd have to look that one up.
The Z was a scrub gesture when I learned the gestures.
Well, let me find out what the Z does. Can you hang on just a second, and you'll be able to hear everything I'm doing here. Let me just check it out.
7:50 p.m.
Come on, you.
Address.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to
Column 1. Row 1.
I'm going to bring up the voiceover practice and try that gesture out. Now, you said it's a Z with 1 finger?
2 fingers.
2
Okay,
fingers?
but show them how you do the voiceover practice with the 4 fingers.
So another gesture, if you want to play with voiceover and learn and have it recognize your gestures, there's a voiceover practice function, and you, believe it or not, you have to take 4 fingers and tap 4 times for it to come up. Now, I have a hard time doing it, so I don't know. We'll see if we can do this. Let's see.
Calendar. Tuesday.
That didn't work.
January
Hang on.
19th.
Try it again here.
Speech off.
That's all right, Manny. I can check it.
Anyway, I don't remember the Z. The Z does something, but I don't remember.
Well,
So,
It's another scrub. It's another scrub.
it probably is.
It used to be scrubbed.
Yeah. But the scrub's a real nice gesture to get you back to a previous page without searching for the back button. That's what that's all about.
Okay, let's hear from some of the other people still on the line. Nancy, do you have a question?
No, I gotta process what I learned.
Okay, Mike, do you have a question?
I'm with Nancy. I need to process what I learned.
It's a lot.
It
Don't
is a
get me
lot.
wrong. It's a lot.
Okay, and Mike, you know how to turn voiceover on your phone? Because Tom wasn't sure how to turn voiceover on. You want to go over that, Manny?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I probably should have led with that. Another hole in my notes. I'll have to fill that in before I distribute them. So if you ever need to turn voiceover on, okay, and it's currently off, all you do is you just tell Siri to turn on voiceover, and she will turn them on. And then you can
Okay.
also toggle it off the same way.
Okay.
But you can also do, what is it, the home button 3 times?
Turn on
Oh yes,
voiceover.
if you have your accessibility menu.
I turned on voiceover.
There you go. So if you have an accessibility menu configured, you know, magnifier, invert, voiceover, those
Cellular.
things will come up with,
Try again.
if you have a home button, you can just triple tap that and then select voiceover.
Okay.
A shortcut.
It's in your settings. I'd have to do a whole thing on that too, a whole page of notes on that, because you have to go to it and then configure it and all this good stuff.
Manny, this is Lupita. I have 2 questions.
Hey, Lupita, how you doing?
I'm doing good. The first one is, did you say the reading list is for being able to read the website at a later time if you don't have an internet connection?
Yeah, it puts it, let's say if you're in a rush and you don't have time to look at the site, but you want to read it later. So there's many ways to do it. You can create a bookmark, get back to it. But if you don't know if you're going to have internet or something, you're going to be somewhere where you may not be able to go on the internet, you can do a reading list, and it actually saves the web page down to your phone. That way you can read it without internet. That's
Okay.
what that's for.
Then the second question I have is, when you are in voiceover practice, how do you get out of that?
Scrub. You can scrub out of it, or you can do the gesture again. It's really hard to do. I can barely do it. 4 fingers 4 times will toggle that thing on and off. Or you scrub back, one of the two.
Or you can tell Siri to turn it off.
You know, I haven't tried it that way. I'm not sure. I've never been able to tell Siri to turn things off. She can load things up and go to things, but I've never seen her actually kill a processor.
I just did it.
Okay. Well, I learned something from Tom tonight.
Yeah. Why don't you show us the task switcher so that people can turn those programs off so it's not using up their battery?
Okay. So as you open applications on your phone, whether it be Safari, Mail, Messages, unless you close them, they stay open in the background. And most of the time, the iPhone, it's got so much power, you can have 15, 20, 30 apps open. It's not going to really cause a problem. At least on mine. I don't know about anybody else's, but what I do is either I'll reset the phone every week or 2, just as a matter of course, or you can go in and you can also, close apps. Now, if you have an iPhone 8 or an SE or back, you're going to have what's called a home button at the bottom. And that's a double tap. You double tap the home button, and then as the apps are shown in a window, you can swipe up with 3 fingers to close them one at a time. And the only difference with the iPhone 10 and beyond is that you would do that with the power button. Oh, no, wait, you don't power button. No, you swipe up from the bottom until you feel the second haptic feedback. That's the double tap. Sorry, I didn't remember. And then you get the same screen, and then you just take 3 fingers and swipe up with it. So,
Well,
let's see,
go
I can
ahead
show
and
you.
close something so we can hear it.
All right. Hey, Siri. Turn speech on.
Sorry, I can't do that.
Oh, okay, great.
Speech on.
There it goes. Okay. So on my phone, I have a 10R. Okay, that doesn't have a home button, but this part, it's really not important. I mean, just remember that on your phone, if you have a round button at the bottom of the screen, that's a home button. And all you got to do is double tap that home button, you know, just or tap it twice in a row. and then you're going to get the app switcher. I'm going to do the equivalent thing on my 10 and get the same screen up. So I'm going to swipe from the bottom up until I feel the second haptic feedback.
App switcher. Safari. Active.
So you guys heard that.
Swipe
App
up with
switcher.
3 fingers to close the app. Actions available.
So there's app switcher, Safari, swipe up with 3 fingers. So if I swipe up with 3 fingers, that app is closed.
Close.
And that was the only app
Calendar.
I had open.
Tuesday, January.
But you would swipe each one. And then of course, when you're done, you'll get your home screen back again. And I don't know if that is easy to visualize without seeing me do it, but trust me, that's the way it's done.
Manny, can you do a demo on using Siri to send like an email?
Sure, sure. Barbara, you want me to send you an email?
Sure.
So Siri can be used to send. It can make phone calls. You can send text messages and email. For some of you out there, this is just second nature. But for those of you who haven't tried this, it's really a godsend as far as accessibility is concerned. So if I want to send Barbara an email, I'm going to go through the steps, and you'll hear Siri. I'm going to have a conversation with Siri to do it. So, okay, here we go. Hey Siri. Email Barbara McPherson.
What's the subject of your email?
Test.
What would you like your email to say?
Hey Barbara, ellipsis. If you can read this, you're too close. Exclamation mark.
Here's your email message to Barbara McPherson. It says, "Hey Barbara, if you can read this, you're too close." Ready to send it?
Cancel.
Yeah, but you didn't send
Okay.
it. You didn't put
I
any
won't send this email.
punctuation in it.
I put an ellipsis and an exclamation point. But we can do another one.
Calendar. Tuesday.
And
Does
then
anybody-
also, you didn't do new line.
Oh, okay. We can play with it a little bit. Sure, sure. Okay. Hey Siri. Email Barbara McPherson.
What's the subject of the email?
Test.
What would you like your email to say?
Hey Barbara, ellipsis, new line, new line, new line. Guess what? This is the 4th line of the email and there's nothing in between. Exclamation mark.
Here's your message to Barbara McPherson. It says, "Hey Barbara, guess what? This is the 4th line of the email, and there's nothing in between."
And it actually,
Ready to send it?
cancel.
Okay, I won't send it.
And if you could see the screen, it looks just like that. There's the first line says, hey Barbara. There's 3 lines of spaces or 3 lines blank. And then the last part of what I said with all the punctuation, the ellipsis and the exclamation mark at the end. And if I would have said yes, it would have just sent it and that would have been it.
It works.
Who's that?
Yeah,
Is that
you
Tom
do
Young?
Tom, it works.
Yeah, it's a lifesaver. I hate to type.
And you can do text the same way.
Text is exactly the same way, except you just don't have to specify a subject. You still dictate the body and then you send it. It works exactly the same way.
And you didn't put any emoji on it.
You know, I still haven't figured out how to do emojis with voice. That's something that I haven't figured out yet.
Oh, I just say smiley face and it puts it on there.
Yeah, I think there's 3. You got frowny and smiley and one other one, but I don't know of anything beyond those 3. And I've looked. So I don't know how you dictate any more than those guys in there.
All right. Do you want to demonstrate on Siri how to find like a Chinese restaurant or how to find something?
Oh yeah. Does anybody have any wishes about looking for something around them? I can show you how to do it. Just Chinese restaurants would be fine, or does somebody have a real something
Deep
else?
dish pizza.
Coco Moms.
Coco and Moms and pizza. All right. So we'll do all 3. How's that? Let's see.
8:02 p.m.
Okay.
Calendar. Tuesday.
Hey Siri. Chinese restaurants near me.
One option is Dragon's Palace on East Broadway Boulevard. Is that the one you're looking for?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I can call that location or get directions. Which would you like?
Street address.
The street address for Dragon's Palace is 8576 East Broadway Boulevard, Tucson. Want to try that one?
Cancel.
Okay.
So that's how she looks up things. Again, we could do pizza. We could do Poco and Mom's.
Let's do Pokemon.
Okay, sure. Hey Siri. Poco and Mom's near me.
The only option I found is Poco and Mom's Cantina on East Tonque Verde Road. Do you want that one?
Yes.
Okay. I can call that location or get directions to it. What would you like me to do?
What's the phone number?
The phone number for Poco and Mom's Cantina is +1520-2969759. Would you like to call it? Does that one sound good?
No.
Looks like that's it.
Thanks for nothing. Okay.
Calendar.
And we had pizza
Tuesday,
still? Pizza?
Deep dish pizza, not just
Deep dish pizza. Whoa, boy. Now, I don't know about that. Okay, we'll try that out. Hey Siri. Deep dish pizzeria is near me.
One possibility I see is New York Pizza on East Broadway Boulevard. Does that one sound good?
no.
Yes. No.
Perfect. I can call that location.
So
Calendar. Tuesday.
I think she clued in on pizzeria, not on deep dish. I think she probably
Right.
just started that. They do serve a deep dish, by the way, and it's very good.
I don't like their pizza. They put too much sauce on it.
Oh, okay.
You know how Chicagoans and New Yorkers are.
I see. Well, I didn't time my presentation right. We still got about 20 something minutes left. So if there's anything anybody needs me to answer, feel free.
Yeah, man, it's Tom.
Hey, Tom.
We've been working on the computer, and now we're working with the iPhone. The similarities are quite different, or they're unique, but they're somewhat different. So when you're trying to work with the iPhone, do you want to use the default process of a computer and movements and so forth?
Well, yeah, lots of things translate. The difference between your
Screen
home
name.
computer and the one in your hand is that your one in the hand is a touch screen. And it also, depending if you're using VoiceOver or not, will speak to you and talk to you. So with a home computer or a desktop computer, sighted, you'll probably be using a mouse and moving around the screen that way. Use the tab keys. But there are similarities because a tab is just like a swipe left or right to get to the next or previous item. So there are a lot of similarities, but like you said, there are some differences too. It's just a paradigm shift from the home kind of keyboard and monitor to a handheld touchscreen. And that difference is kind of what I just explained. And that's the reason you have to tap on a screen versus click on the screen or just use the keyboard only.
Well,
Gina?
in my case, got macular degeneration, and it's progressing slowly. But for some of our members that are have different visual impairments, the process of working from a laptop or a home computer to an iPhone is somewhat transitional, and I don't know how to explain it, but at what point should we concentrate on the iPhone and forget the laptop or home computer?
That's a tough one because that's personal preference, I think.
Absolutely.
But
I've got a Mac I haven't touched, and
I
I
find,
use my phone all the time.
yeah, I found, and Nancy has a good point. I've found that the iPhone is so powerful in that little package that you can do everything you can do on a computer, but
And you can
better
sit in your
and faster.
recliner.
Yeah, but a computer is great if you're going to sit down and do like you're going to create some presentation or something like that. But if you're just going to use it for like a utilitarian thing, check emails, check your bank account, do this or that, then the phone really shines in that area because everything is more simplified and smaller. I guess more simplified is a better thing because I don't know if you noticed, Tom, but if you go to Microsoft Word and you look at that ribbon, you go, "Holy cow!"
Oh,
Look at those
God.
functions. Yeah. Now, with editor on the phone, that's very stripped down, but you get all the functions somehow or another. But it's so much simpler to do it. So I don't know. It's like personal preference, but for me, I really like the iPhone. But I have a computer too, and it's getting harder and harder to justify the computer as the years go by. So I don't know.
I
That's
have a
my next
PC
question.
and an iMac, and I don't use either one. I use my phone
Yeah.
and my
Wait,
iPad
Manny.
sometimes.
Oh, yes, Tom. Yeah. What's going on?
Yeah, my next question is, and you and I have been talking about a lot of these subjects. If I find the iPhone amazingly and more astute to work with, can I do something on the iPhone and transfer it to my home computer to follow up on?
Absolutely. That just has to be configured. And now, if you have a Mac like Nancy, those things are automatic because without going into all the gory details, whatever you do on your phone, your Mac automatically knows about it and vice versa. And it uses just a communications between them to keep themselves synced up. Now, with a Windows machine, you got to do a little dance to make that happen, but it's still possible.
Mike, are you still there?
I am.
Okay, your turn.
Oh, no, I'm good. Manny, it's so nice to see and hear from you. Thank you.
Yeah, same here, Mike. Same here. Thank you.
Okay, Gina, are you still there? Okay, Annie, you got some questions, I'm sure.
No, I don't. I'm good. Like Nancy, I'm going to process this. I know the gestures, but thanks, Manny. I look forward to the
welcome.
next one.
You're welcome.
Mandy,
Thank you.
are you going to write something up that we're going to be able to download eventually?
Yes, I've talked to Barbara about this, and she's instructed me to give you guys a great detail and simplified notes so you can take them and run with them and play with them and do some cool things. So everything we talked about will be in a nice, clear, and easy, concise notes that you guys could look at if you'd like. And I guess I can distribute them, or Barbara can. I don't know what Barbara
I'll
wants to do.
email them out.
Okay.
I'll email them out. We were talking about for the next time to go over apps on your phone. So we were talking about using a voice memo program, using notes, using the calendar, how to block phone calls, how to block text messages, how to turn off notifications, and maybe seeing AI. So we're looking at stuff you've already got on your phone for the next lesson.
Yeah, I think finding a good application that we can go over, like Seeing AI is a great one, and it really it simplifies my life. It makes me I can read emails and do things, but I think whatever the group wants to look at, I'm more than willing to do my research and give you my take on it and see if it helps.
Well, one of the things I've been enjoying now that I know how to do notes and create lists, I've been making all kinds of lists. I've really enjoyed that.
Yes.
That's been a lot of fun.
It's good.
I would like notes. I don't use that very much, and I would like to learn more about it.
Yeah, notes is very powerful. I think everybody who explores notes will like them because you can do just regular notes, or you can do lists that you can check on and off, like if you did something or didn't do something, complete or incomplete kind of thing. So
How about
you can share those
appointments?
notes. What's that?
How about appointments?
Oh, calendars. Yeah, big one. Yes, Tom. Yeah, absolutely. That's a good one.
I love YouTube.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if people want to learn about the rotor. Are people interested in learning on the rotor?
Not yet.
Because I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, but you're
Yeah.
probably more advanced.
Well, the rotor is a very powerful gesture, but in my opinion, you got to walk before you run, and that's a running gesture. That's one where you got to get up to that and get really good with the gestures before you. It's not impossible to do, but there's a lot of thinking going on with the rotor, a lot of context, and it changes for each place that you start the rotor up, the rotor gesture.
I know what I want to ask you, Manny.
Mhm.
Okay, there's iBooks and there's Amazon Alexa. I mean, Amazon has books, and there's lots of sources of books. Now I know how to read my books. I finally learned how to get it to read it to me, page after page after page. It took a long time to figure that one out. But what I'm curious about is what's compatible with what. In other words, if I get a book from Amazon, a digital book, can I play them on my phone, my iPhone? Can I play, are they interchangeable? I don't understand the difference between, let's see, I was on Amazon last night and there was something I wanted and I didn't know if I could play it on my iPhone or what. That's a little confusing. What's transparent and what isn't?
Well, audiobooks should play on any phone, anywhere, because you're downloading their app. Like if you're using Audible, or if you're using Bard, or if you're using something else, audiobooks
and what
are
about
just
Alexa? Will they play on Alexa?
well. That's just an assistant. Are you talking about Amazon? Because that's who makes.
Yeah, because the Alexa's nice and loud.
So yeah, you can order books from Amazon audiobooks, and they should play on Alexa. Now,
yeah, I know, but can iBooks play on Alexa?
Now, if you mean iBooks meaning books that are non-audible, meaning that they're not soundtracks with people describing the book. It's actually pages that are being shown. Is that what you mean by iBooks?
Well, if it's pages, usually if it's on my iPhone, I think then Alexa can read it to me.
Well, VoiceOver can read stuff print because I have the Kindle app. And if I get a book that's not audible, that's just a text, I can turn on VoiceOver and VoiceOver will read the book through Kindle and it'll actually read
right.
it.
I have a Kindle app on my iPhone.
Yeah. Of course, the voice is not human though. The voice is a computer
that
voice.
That doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
It's such a pleasure not to have to read.
So to answer your question, Nancy, yes. Anything that's got a screen reader can read books that are not audible books, meaning books that are not recorded with a person reading the book.
Oh, okay, I understand.
And if they're audible books, well, then that's just like playing a music file. Everybody can do that. So yes, the answer is yes. You can. They're all compatible.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Did everybody enjoy this tonight?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Outstanding.
Thank you.
Lots of fun. Yeah.
No one's asleep back there.
Well, you had 10 people on, so that's pretty good. They didn't all stay the whole time, but you had 10 people, so that's a pretty good showing for the first time. And unfortunately, I don't know what happened to Maggie. She wasn't on, and then Shirley Jackson wasn't on.
Oh, okay. Well,
Manny,
Barbara,
do you do classes independently on the Mac?
yeah, I got a few students with Macs that I do
Because
classes
I've got
with.
an iMac and I just have not applied myself. And I should get some use out of it before it's obsolete,
Well, sure. Why don't you call me offline and we'll talk about it, and I'll be happy
Okay.
to do what I can. Yeah.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
good.
Mhm.
And Nancy,
Maybe you can teach me the preliminary stuff,
Sure. Sure.
Did somebody
Nancy,
say something? What, dear? What,
this is
Tom?
Tom.
How you doing, Tom?
Manny is an amazing individual, and you won't believe what he can help you with.
Oh, isn't that wonderful?
Thanks, Tom. I'll pay you later for that one.
I'm gonna echo that. It's Lupita. I agree.
Thank you. I'll pay you too, Lupita. Well, I'm sorry that I didn't use up the full time. I thought I had enough material, but you guys were really calm. You didn't throw too many questions at me, so went by faster. But I'm glad, because maybe that means you understood it pretty good. So I like that.
You'll
Well,
have
we're
to-
learning, Manny. We'll ask questions later.
Yes,
Okay.
that's
I like the way you pointed out those 5 gestures at the beginning, because that's something to bite my teeth into. I really think that's great, because
Yeah,
gestures were just so, oh, I don't get that.
Well,
Now they're organized.
I
Thank
can't
you.
tell you how many times I've been to classes and they want me to learn 700 JAWS commands or 300 gestures. I mean, that's just nonsense. You need to learn the ones that get you through, and then you start discovering the ones after that you need, and it cements them in.
Right.
I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I know it works. So that's kind of the way I do it.
Yeah.
So, Manny, what did John say? Are you supposed to call him to stop the recording, or what?
No, I'm here. I'm going to stop. If you want me to stop the recording now, I'll do it right now.
There he is.
I've had an ear cocked. I haven't been, I know this stuff. I'm not saying, I'm better than anybody else. I'm just saying I know it. So I don't really want to.
Thanks for helping
just
us out,
here to be
Don.
alerted, okay, and manage the hosting.
Yeah.
So here goes the recording.
Thank you for letting us use your Zoom, John.